Montana Territory, 1879. The first frost had settled over the Gallatin Valley, bringing with it a stillness that matched the hollow ache in Zara Baker's chest. At 22, she stood on the weathered porch of her late father's mercantile, watching the distant mountains fade into dusk. Her honey-blonde hair whipped around her face, escaping the loose braid that hung down her back. The dark blue calico dress she wore, her best, felt like armor against a world that had already taken too much. No sense in running from the truth, she whispered to herself, clutching the doctor's letter in her hand until the paper crumpled. The words blurred before her eyes, but she'd memorized them anyway. Some wounds from the fever last spring had healed, while others, invisible but far more devastating, never would. In Zara's mind, a woman who couldn't bear children was like a field that couldn't grow wheat, useless in this harsh territory where family lines meant survival. What man would want her now? The frontier demanded continuation, legacy, children to work the land. She'd watched her father struggle alone after her mother died, and now she understood the crushing weight of solitude on the frontier. "Miss Baker," Sheriff Donovan's voice startled her from her thoughts. "Pardon the intrusion, but the stage brought mail. Figured you'd want this straight away." The telegram's message was brief but clear. Her uncle in St. Louis had died, leaving no provision for her father's stored debts. The bank would foreclose in 30 days. "Thank you, Sheriff," she said, maintaining the composure that had become her shield. Alone again, she leaned against the porch rail, staring out at the darkening valley. The frontier had never felt so vast or so empty. 3 days later, the sound of hoofbeats broke the morning quiet. Zara looked up from sorting inventory to see a man dismounting from a handsome chestnut gelding. Tall and broad-shouldered, he moved with the easy confidence of someone comfortable in his own skin. His Stetson cast shadows across features too finely cut to belong to the usual rough-hewn cowboys who passed through Gallatin. When he entered the store, removing his hat in one fluid motion, she noticed his eyes first, alert, intelligent, the warm brown of freshly turned earth. His face was clean-shaven save for a day's worth of stubble, and despite the trailed dust on his denims and cotton shirt, there was something undeniably refined about him. "Ma'am." He nodded, hat pressed to his chest. "Adam Armstrong. I believe you received a telegram about me." Zara frowned, scanning her memory. "I'm afraid not, Mr. Armstrong." His brow furrowed. "That's peculiar. Judge Hollister and Helena was supposed to send word I'd be coming to assess the store." Assess? The word felt like a stone in her stomach. For what purpose? "The banks engaged me to evaluate the business before foreclosure proceedings. I'm to inventory assets, determine fair market value." His expression softened at her visible distress. "I'm truly sorry, Miss Baker." Zara Baker. She squared her shoulders, pride overriding hurt. "And this store isn't dead yet, Mr. Armstrong. My father built this business from nothing." Something flickered in his eyes. Respect, perhaps. 28 days isn't much time to turn things around. "It's all I have." She turned away, arranging jars with trembling hands. "You're welcome to count every nail and bean, Mr. Armstrong, but I'll be working to save this store while you do it." Adam watched her for a long moment. At 25, he'd seen enough of the world to recognize true grit when he saw it. And this woman, with her honey-blonde hair catching the morning light and her chin tilted in defiance, had it in spades. "Fair enough, Miss Baker," he said finally. "I'll stay out of your way." But as he began his methodical assessment, Adam couldn't help but notice how the customers responded to her. The warmth in her voice when she asked after a rancher's wife, the extra penny candy she slipped to children, the way she carefully noted purchases in a ledger for those who couldn't pay immediately. This wasn't just a store. It was the heart of something deeper. "You don't strike me as a bank man," Zara said later that afternoon, finding Adam studying her father's account books with a furrowed brow. "I'm not, exactly." He looked up, his expression unreadable. "The bank contracts me for various assessments. I have a knack for numbers." And before that, a shadow crossed his face. "Cattle mostly. My father's ranch in Texas. Then the war came, and afterward." He trailed off, then gestured to the books. "Your father extended a lot of credit. People here look after each other," she said defensively. "When the Wilkinsons lost their crop to hail, or when the Pedersons had twins last winter, they needed help. My father understood that. Generosity is admirable, but it doesn't pay suppliers. His tone was gentle, not accusatory. Zara stiffened. Is that your life's philosophy, Mr. Armstrong? Every kindness must show profit. He smiled then, unexpectedly, and it transformed his serious face. Not at all, but kindness and good business needn't be enemies. Something about his smile made her heart flutter traitorously. She turned away, busying herself with a shelf of fabric bolts. I should close up for the night. Outside, the first stars appeared in the deepening blue. As Adam helped her lock the store, their hands brushed. The brief contact sent warmth spreading up her arm. Miss Baker, he said suddenly, your father's approach had merit, community matters. But there might be another way to balance the books without losing that spirit. And what way is that? Let me think on it. He settled his hat on his head. I'll see you tomorrow. Watching him walk toward the boarding house, Zara felt a dangerous flutter of hope. She squashed it immediately. Men like Adam Armstrong didn't stay. And women like her, women who couldn't fulfill a frontier man's most basic expectation, weren't meant for happy endings. The next morning, Zara arrived at the store to find Adam already there, sleeves rolled up, wrestling with the ancient freight scale. It's been catching, he explained, not looking up from his tinkering. Noticed yesterday when you weighed Mrs. Thornton's flour. You were overcharging yourself. That's thoughtful of you. She set down her basket, puzzled by his initiative. Fixed your back door latch too. Wouldn't keep a determined rabbit out, let alone anyone looking to cause trouble. Before she could respond, the bell above the door jangled. 3 ragged children tumbled in, the keen kids from the failing homestead outside town. The oldest, barely 10, clutched a handful of coins. Ma needs medicine, he announced, setting the money on the counter. The coughing's back. Zara counted the coins. Not nearly enough for the tonic the doctor had prescribed last time. She glanced at Adam, then made her decision. This will do fine, Tommy. You tell your ma to rest, and drink plenty of water with it. After the children left, Adam raised an eyebrow. That was less than half price. Their father was killed by rustlers last spring. They're barely holding on. She squared her shoulders, expecting an argument about business sense. Instead, Adam leaned against the counter. My mother died of lung fever when I was 12. My father and I were out rounding up strays. By the time we got back, he cleared his throat. Good on you, helping them. Something in his tone, the raw honesty, made her look at him differently. I'm sorry about your mother. Long time ago. He straightened, changing the subject. Now, I've been thinking about those accounts. The Pedersens raise sheep, right? And the Wilkinsons grow wheat when the weather cooperates. Yes, but what if, instead of just extending credit, you accepted payment in goods? Wool, grain, eggs, whatever they produce. You could sell it at market price, or trade it to other customers who need it. Zara blinked. A barter system? With a twist. You become not just a store, but a trading hub. People bring what they have surplus of, take what they need. His eyes were bright with enthusiasm. It builds on what your father started, but makes it sustainable. The idea took root in her mind, expanding with possibilities. For the first time since receiving the doctor's letter, Zara felt a spark of purpose. It could work, she admitted. Though I'd need to reorganize everything, create new ledgers. I could help, Adam offered, then quickly added, while I'm here, of course. That evening, they worked side by side, designing a new system for the store. When their hands accidentally touched over a ledger, neither pulled away immediately. The store felt smaller somehow, the air between them charged with something Zara wouldn't name. A week passed in a blur of activity. Word spread about the new trading system, bringing curious customers and skeptics alike. Adam proved surprisingly adept at persuading gruff ranchers to try something new, while Zara meticulously tracked every exchange. You're good at this, she told him one evening as they counted the day's receipts. Actual money alongside notes for eggs, milk, and labor promises. At math. He smiled, the lamplight softening his features. At understanding people. She hesitated. Why banking work? Why not your own business? Adam's hand stilled over the ledger. After my father died, I lost the ranch. Bad decisions, worse company. Learned accounting to understand where I went wrong, then found I had a talent for it. I'm sorry, she said softly. He shrugged, but she saw the pain behind the casual gesture. We all carry something, don't we? His eyes met hers, searching. What about you? You're a natural at this. the store, the community. Yet sometimes you seem distant. Zara looked away, heart pounding. How easily he saw through her careful composure. I've learned not to plan too far ahead. The frontier takes what it wants. That's mighty fatalistic for someone so young, he observed quietly. Perhaps I'm old in the ways that matter. She closed the ledger with finality. It's getting late. Outside, a spring snowstorm had swept in, coating the street in white. Adam insisted on walking her to the small house she'd inherited from her father, just behind the store. As snowflakes caught in her eyelashes, Zara found herself studying his profile. In 2 short weeks, Adam Armstrong had become a fixture in her days. His thoughtful suggestions, his easy way with customers, the quiet competence in his hands. It would be harder than she'd expected to watch him leave. At her door, he hesitated. I should tell you something, Miss Baker. Her heart stuttered. Yes. I've been sending reports to the bank, but... He looked uncomfortable. I've been emphasizing the store's potential under the new system, not just its current state. You've been advocating for me? The realization warmed her from within, despite the snow swirling around them. The numbers don't lie, you're turning things around. But more than that, he met her gaze directly. This place matters. You matter to these people. For one breathless moment, she thought he might step closer. Instead, he tipped his hat and turned away, leaving footprints in the new snow and confusion in his wake. The next morning brought unexpected chaos. A freight wagon had overturned outside town, and its cargo, including medicine desperately needed after a whooping cough outbreak, was scattered across muddy terrain. Zara found herself organizing a recovery effort, with Adam instantly at her side. They worked through the morning, directing volunteers, salvaging what they could. When a section of the embankment gave way, nearly crushing Tommy Keene, Adam moved with startling speed, pulling the boy to safety. You've done this before, Zara observed later, watching him splint a rescuer's sprained ankle with practiced efficiency. 2 years with a cattle drive teaches you field medicine, he replied, not looking up from his work. And other things. By afternoon, they'd recovered most of the supplies. The town doctor approached them, gratitude evident in his tired face. Miss Baker, Mr. Armstrong, you've saved lives today. He clasped their hands. I've patience to see, but I wanted to thank you personally. As the doctor moved away, Zara noticed Adam watching her with an odd expression. What is it? She asked, suddenly self-conscious about her muddy skirts and disheveled hair. You ran toward danger today, not away from it. His voice was soft with something like wonder. Most people talk about community, but you live it. The admiration in his eyes made her chest tighten. This was dangerous territory, allowing herself to care for a man who would soon leave, who would eventually want the one thing she couldn't give. I should get back to the store, she said abruptly, retreating behind her walls of practicality. We're still on borrowed time with the bank. Adam's expression clouded, but he nodded. Of course. That evening, a telegram arrived for Adam. Zara found him reading it on the store's back porch, his expression unreadable in the fading light. Bad news? She asked, setting down the coffee she'd brought him. The bank president is coming to Gallatin. In 3 days. He folded the paper carefully. To make a final decision about the store. Fear clutched at her throat. And your assessment? Is favorable, but he'll want to see for himself. Adam hesitated. Zara, Miss Baker, there's something else. The use of her first name shouldn't have affected her so strongly. Yes. The bank president, Harrison Wells. He and I have history. Not good history. Adam's jaw tightened. My being here might actually hurt your case. I don't understand. Why would the bank send you if Wells didn't choose me? The local manager did. Wells doesn't know I'm the one who conducted the assessment. The implications settled over her. You think he'll reject your findings out of spite? Adam's silence was answer enough. Then we'll just have to make sure the store's success speaks for itself, she said with more confidence than she felt. Whatever happened between you two shouldn't matter. It was his daughter, Adam said quietly. I was engaged to marry her before I lost the ranch. When my fortunes turned, so did her father's opinion of me. Called me a failure to my face at Sunday dinner. And his daughter? Zara asked, ignoring the irrational pang of jealousy. Agreed with him. Married a banker 6 months later. His smile held no humor. Can't blame her, really. I was a mess then. Her loss, Zara said before she could stop herself. In the gathering dusk, his eyes found hers, searching. Why do I get the feeling you're fighting your own battles, Zara Baker? What ghost haunts you? The question hit too close to her carefully guarded secret. She stood abruptly. We have 3 days to prepare for Wells. We should get some rest. But sleep proved elusive that night. Zara stared at her ceiling, thinking of Adam, his quiet strength, his unexpected kindness, the way he saw solutions where others saw only problems. In another life, perhaps. But this was the only life she had. And in it, she was a woman who couldn't give a man children. A fundamental expectation on the frontier where family meant survival, legacy, and helping hands for the work. No matter how her heart betrayed her, that truth remained. The next 2 days passed in a flurry of preparation. They expanded the trading board, created displays showcasing local goods, and Zara enlisted the town's women to help clean every corner of the store. Adam convinced several ranchers to settle their accounts early, improving the cash position. By the evening before Wells's arrival, exhaustion had set in. They sat on the store's back steps, sharing the last of the coffee. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Adam said, watching the stars appear, "you've accomplished something remarkable here." "We have," she corrected him. "I couldn't have done this without you." The admission cost her, acknowledging how quickly he'd become essential. Soon he would leave, returning to his life of cattle and numbers and lonely roads. The thought ached more than she'd expected. "Zara," something in his voice made her look up. "What will you do if Wells extends the loan?" "Keep building, I suppose. The trading system works better than I imagined. With time, I think it could really transform things here. And if he doesn't?" She'd asked herself this question countless times. Move on somehow. Helena, maybe. Or further west. Alone. The word hung between them. Her throat tightened. "I'm accustomed to managing for myself." "That wasn't my question." His eyes held her steadily. "What are you really asking, Adam?" Her heart hammered against her ribs. Before he could answer, voices carried from the street, riders arriving late. The moment shattered as they both stood, the conversation unfinished between them. "I should go," Adam said, his expression regretful. "Big day tomorrow." As she watched him walk away, Zara wondered what he'd been about to say, and whether it would have changed anything at all. Harrison Wells arrived precisely at 10 the next morning, a portly man in an expensive suit that marked him immediately as an outsider in the frontier town. His cold eyes assessed the store, lingering disapprovingly on the trading board before settling on Adam. "Armstrong." His tone could have frozen water. "I should have known when I heard about this creative accounting arrangement." Adam stood straight-backed, professional despite the open hostility. "Mr. Wells, the trading system has significantly improved the store's viability. The ledgers show." "I'm not interested in whatever shell game you've concocted," Wells interrupted, turning to Zara. "Miss Baker, I presume? I'm afraid this establishment's condition is exactly as I suspected when your father's debts came to my attention. Frontier sentimentality masquerading as business." Zara felt heat rise in her cheeks. "With respect, Mr. Wells, our books show substantial improvement. We've reduced outstanding debts by nearly 40% in just 3 weeks. Temporary measures won't suffice. This community simply can't sustain a mercantile of this size." Wells's tone was dismissive. "The bank will proceed with foreclosure as scheduled." "That's not fair," Adam interjected. "At least review the numbers. I've seen enough of your numbers over the years, Armstrong." Wells's smile was cold. "You couldn't manage your own affairs. I certainly won't trust your assessment of others." The store had filled with townsfolk, coming to see the bank president, and now witnessing his dismissal of their efforts. Murmurs of discontent rippled through the crowd. "Folks around here depend on this store," came a voice from the back, Samuel Peterson, whose twins were now 6 months old. "Miss Baker carried us through winter when our sheep got sick. And she's the only one who stocks the medicine my Eliza needs," added William Thornton. One by one, customers spoke up, detailing how the store, and Zara, had become essential to their survival. Wells's expression hardened as the testimonials continued. "Touching, but irrelevant," he said finally. "Business isn't charity. No, it's community." Adam cut in, voice steady. "And this community is willing to invest in its future. Look around you, Wells. These people aren't just customers, they're partners." To prove his point, he gestured to the trading board, where goods and services flowed in multiple directions. Miss Baker hasn't just maintained a store. She's created a system where everyone contributes what they can and gets what they need. The money follows, but the foundation is stronger than just cash. Wells scoffed, but Zara saw uncertainty flicker in his eyes as he took in the united front before him. "Mr. Wells," she said, stepping forward. "I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking for a fair assessment of what we've built. Give us 6 more months to prove its sustainability. And what guarantee do I have that you won't simply delay the inevitable?" "Me," said Adam, his declaration silencing the room. "I'll stake my reputation on it. More than that, I'll invest in it personally." Wells's eyebrows shot up. "You? What could you possibly have to invest?" "My future." Adam's eyes found Zara's, holding a question she couldn't decipher. "If you grant the extension and the store fails to meet agreed-upon benchmarks in 6 months, I'll work for your bank for 1 year. No salary. Debt service." Gasps rippled through the store. Wells studied him carefully. "And if it succeeds?" the banker asked. "Then the store continues under its own power, with no further intervention from your bank beyond normal business relations." Wells considered this, his calculating mind clearly seeing advantage either way. "Very well, Armstrong. 6 months. But I want monthly reports, and I'll send my own man for the final assessment, not you." After Wells departed, the townsfolk celebrated, clapping Adam on the back and congratulating Zara. But amid the jubilation, she pulled him aside. "Why would you risk your future for my store?" she demanded, confusion and hope warring within her. "Not for the store," he said quietly. "For you." The words hung between them, weighted with unspoken meaning. Before she could respond, more well-wishers surrounded them, the moment lost in the crowd's enthusiasm. That night, Zara couldn't sleep. Adam's declaration, and what it might mean, kept her thoughts racing. At dawn, she gave up and headed to the store early, needing the comfort of routine. She found Adam already there, bent over ledgers in the pale morning light. "You're up early," she observed, startled. "Couldn't sleep." He looked up, shadows beneath his eyes suggesting his night had been as restless as hers. "Planning improvements for the trading system." "Adam." She sat across from him, gathering her courage. "Yesterday, when you said you were doing this for me, what did you mean?" He set down his pencil, meeting her gaze directly. "I think you know. I need to hear it." He stood, pacing to the window before turning back to her. "When I came here, I expected another failing business, another sad story. What I found was you. Rebuilding, fighting, creating something meaningful from ashes." His voice softened. "You reminded me what matters." Her heart swelled painfully. "You're leaving soon." "I don't have to." The words hung in the air between them. "Zara, these weeks working beside you have been the first time since losing the ranch that I've felt purposeful, connected. You don't know me." "Not really," she protested weakly. "I know enough." He moved closer, his expression earnest. "I know you put others first, even when it costs you. I know you see possibility where others see only problems. I know working beside you feels more right than anything I've done in years." "Adam, please." Tears threatened. "There are things about me you don't understand." "Then help me understand." The moment had come, the truth she'd been dreading. Zara steeled herself, knowing his kindness, his warmth, his declarations would vanish once he knew. "The fever last spring." She began, her voice barely audible. "It left scars the doctor couldn't see at first. When I finally went back, his examination showed." She faltered, then forced herself to continue. "I can't have children. Ever." She kept her eyes fixed on her hands, waiting for his withdrawal, his disappointment. When he remained silent, she looked up, expecting pity at best. Instead, she found him watching her with the same steady gaze, unchanged. "Is that all?" he asked quietly. Confusion flooded her. "All. Adam, this is the frontier. Men need sons to work the land, daughters to care for them in old age. A barren wife is a partner," he interrupted. "A companion, the person you choose to build a life with." He stepped closer, taking her hands in his. "Zara, do you think I haven't seen what truly matters these past weeks? Family isn't always blood. I don't understand. 2 days after I arrived, you spent an hour teaching Tommy Keene how to calculate change. Last week, you stayed late mending Sarah Wilson's dress for Sunday service. Yesterday, half the children in town were in here helping prepare for Wells's visit." His thumb brushed her knuckles. "You already have children in your life, dozens of them. This whole town is your family. Tears spilled over as years of self-judgment collided with his simple acceptance. I can't have children, she whispered, needing to hear him say it directly. Adam smiled, gentle and sure. Good. I've got enough kids for both of us. When she looked puzzled, he continued. After my father died and I lost the ranch, I drifted until I found work at an orphanage in Denver. Kept the books, but also taught the boys ranching skills, basic figures. Those children, 27 of them, they're mine in every way that matters. I send half my earnings to them still. You never mentioned. Some things you keep close until you find someone who might understand. His hands tightened on hers. Zara Baker, I'm not looking for a woman to bear my children. I'm looking for a woman to share my life, to build something meaningful, to make this frontier a home for more than just ourselves. The weight she'd carried for so long began to lift. You're serious. Dead serious. He smiled. Though I admit, I planned a more romantic proposal than this. A laugh escaped her, half sob, half wonder. You're proposing? Ineptly, it seems. His eyes crinkled. Let me try again. Zara Baker, I love your mind, your heart, your courage. I love how you've created family from community. I want to build a life with you. Here, with this store as our foundation and this town as our extended family. Will you marry me? In that moment, surrounded by the store her father had built and that she had transformed, Zara finally saw a future unburdened by what she couldn't do, defined instead by all she could. Yes, she whispered, and when his lips met hers, the last of her walls crumbled away. Gallatin Valley, 1880. The Harvest Festival transformed the town square, tables groaning with food, lanterns casting warm light as dusk settled over the mountains. At the center of it all stood the mercantile, doors thrown wide, a hub of celebration. Inside, Adam helped Tommy Keene calculate the day's extraordinary receipts while Zara adjusted the trading board, now expanded to cover an entire wall. 6 months had passed since Wells's visit, and the bank's assessor had departed that morning with grudging approval of the store's remarkable turnaround. Mrs. Armstrong, Adam called, the name still new enough to make her smile. The Wilkinsons just brought in the last of their wheat harvest. Trading credit or banknote. Ask if they need winter boots for the children, she replied. Sarah mentioned their oldest has outgrown everything. Their easy partnership had only strengthened since their spring wedding. The store had become exactly what Adam had envisioned, a true community center where goods, services, and support flowed freely, underpinned by sound business practices. As evening deepened, the celebration moved to the town square. Adam found Zara at the edge of the dancing, watching as Peterson's twins toddled among the crowd, pursued by their laughing father. Penny for your thoughts? He asked, slipping an arm around her waist. I was just thinking how rich we are, she said, leaning into him. Not in money, but in this. She gestured to the community they'd helped strengthen, ranchers and shopkeepers, children and elders, all connected in an intricate web of mutual support. Speaking of family, Adam said, excitement threading his voice, I received a letter today. The orphanage director is bringing 3 of the older boys west next month, the ones I taught ranching to. They're ready for apprenticeships. They can stay with us, Zara said immediately. We'll add rooms to the back house. Adam's smile was tender as he brushed a strand of honey blonde hair from her face. You're certain? 3 teenage boys is no small undertaking. Adam Armstrong, did you or did you not promise me enough children for both of us? Her eyes danced with happiness. I'm just collecting on that promise. He laughed, pulling her close. I did indeed. And there's a family in Helena with 5 little ones who lost their mother. The father asked if we might take the girls while he gets back on his feet. Of course we will, she said without hesitation. As fiddles struck up a lively tune, Adam led her into the dance, their movements as synchronized as their shared vision. Around them swirled the community that had become their extended family, not bound by blood but by something equally powerful, choice, commitment, and love that transcended conventional expectations. Later, as they walked home beneath a canopy of stars, Adam squeezed her hand. Happy. Zara thought of the doctor's letter, once a death sentence to her dreams, now merely a fact that had led her to a different kind of family, one far larger and more diverse than she could have imagined. More than I thought possible, she answered truthfully. We've built something special here, haven't we? "We've only just begun," he promised, and sealed it with a kiss beneath the vast Montana sky. A sky big enough for all their dreams, conventional or otherwise.